My father just died a couple months ago. He was always a car guy. He loved all of his grandkids, but was always especially close to my daughter, 24 female, if that matters to anyone. When my daughter began seeing my now son-in-law 3 years ago, they became very close as well. My daughter enjoyed going over to her grandfather's house often, and played a huge part in helping him as his health began to fail. My son-in-law was a massive help as well. I would venture to say they helped out with my father more than anyone, myself included. My father and son-in-law found a lot of common ground to bond over. They are both Army vets and both career mechanics. Over the last couple years, my son-in-law assisted my father greatly in maintaining his cars, especially my father's collector car, 1950s Buick, as my father became too frail to do it himself. As it became clear that his time was coming, my father was getting his affairs in order and spoke to me and my daughter about leaving my son-in-law the Buick. It's worth saying my brother was invited to join us, but declined to be there. My daughter and I both enthusiastically agreed with him. I didn't think there would be any problem with that. My brother is not a car guy and was getting Dad's other car. Very nice car, just not collector level. My father passed peacefully. When the will was carried out, my son-in-law was extremely grateful for the car he helped build, and he has cared for it as my dad would want. But perhaps a week ago, my brother called me absolutely furious that the car was passed to my son-in-law. He said he was mad that it passed to someone not even in the family, apparently forgetting that the kid is married to my daughter. He says the car should have gone to either myself or him. I explained to him Dad's reasons for what he did, especially that he saw more of his grandson-in-law than he did my brother for the last couple years, and the kid had helped him without complaint while my brother was too busy. My brother continues to raise Cain over it. My son-in-law expressed privately that he would be willing to give up the car to help avoid a family split. But my daughter and I have told him firmly not to even think of giving it up. I feel bad the kid is getting pulled into all this. My brother is bugging my daughter and her husband, and he has been ignoring my communication since our talk last week. I'm happy to argue it out with him, but he doesn't need to go attacking my son-in-law and daughter over this BS. Is there anything I can do to get my brother to knock this crap off? We haven't had the best relationship even before this, and it is supremely upsetting me that this is happening. Help. Tell your son-in-law and your daughter to hold firm. This was your father's wishes. Son-in-law helped build that car and enriched your father's life. No way he should give it up. No way should your father's wishes be ignored. Only thing that should be ignored is brother. He is ungrateful and entitled. I even get the feeling he'd run that car into the ground if he had it. Provide your full support to son-in-law and daughter. Don't let them give. Maybe go to your brother and give him some major guilt for thinking so little of his father's final wishes. Sometimes, the death of a close family member brings out the worst in people. It sounds like this is what your father wanted, and that your brother only cared after the fact. Honor your father's wishes. Your brother is being petty, greedy, entitled, demanding. Your brother was also given a car, right? But he wanted 2 cars? I get the feeling that he would be griping and complaining and making everyone feel awful no matter who got the car, unless it was him. You and your daughter are absolutely right to tell your son-in-law that your father wished for him to have the car, and he should honor your father's choice. It's just terrible that your brother is spoiling this by being a greedy pig and making your son-in-law uncomfortable about it. You tell your daughter and son-in-law to block your brother's calls and any other way he is harassing them. Then you tell your brother you told them to block him, that it was your idea. Tell him you don't want to block him out, but if he doesn't quit this supremely unpleasant behavior, you will. Then do it. So, my husband and I left town to visit my mom for the holidays, from the 23rd of December to the 1st of January. Before we left, we asked his sister to come check on the house, take care of our cat, and water my plants. Easy enough. She was also going to my in-laws up the road every day to take care of their dog while they were out of town. While she was there, I also offered up our washer and dryer since hers is broken. When we left, I left $40 in a card with written instructions on what needed to be done and how often. We had a lovely stay with my mom, but when we got home at 10 p.m. on the 1st, the house stunk. As soon as you walked in the door, the smell of urine and rotten fruit knocked you on your butt. My husband went in to take inventory of what was wrong while I got the baby out. Here's the rundown. The litter box was disgusting. There was more poop and urine than litter. It hadn't been done in at least a week. It was so bad that he'd peed on the bottom with no litter and it destroyed the box. We had to buy a new one. Because the box was so disgusting, he peed on the rug in the bathroom and my rug in the kitchen, so I had to wash those and mop before going to bed. The litter genie, where we put his mess, was full, but only the top compartment. How it works is, you open the lid, clean the box, and then pull the lever so it's all in a bag in the bottom. The bag was empty. If you don't do the box daily, the top fills up in about 2 days, I'd estimate. We have a treat tree for the cat. You just put a half a scoop of food in the top, and he plays the food out. This was packed with food. Like every layer was full to the top. It was all stale. We had to throw it away. There were rotten bananas on the counter. I know, it's on us that we left fruit out before going on vacation. But she could have easily tossed it out before it liquefied and stained my countertop. The washer was on with nothing in it. I don't even understand this. It's a pain to turn on. You can't do it accidentally. The thing we were most pissed off about was the litter box. So my husband sent her a text. "Do you let your cat's box get this full?" She didn't respond. We assumed she was sleeping and just figured we'd talk to her the next day. So about 5:30 the next day, she sends me a message. "Did I leave my pink cup there?" I respond, "Yes. Husband has been trying to get a hold of you. He texted you yesterday when we got home but said he hasn't got a reply." An hour and a half later, I get this response. "I'm sorry you were trying to get a hold of me. I did not respond to husband's text because I thought it was rude and do not think that it warranted a response." He sees it before I do, gets his phone, and steps outside to call her. It rings once and then goes to voicemail. She denied it. So he leaves her a voicemail. He tells me it wasn't nice. Probably not his best moment. But while he was outside, I sent her this reply. "You know what's rude? Being paid to do something, not doing it, and not telling anyone." We came home after driving all day to an absolutely disgusting litter box. Because the box was so overfull, the cat peed in the kitchen on my rug and the rug in the bathroom. His treat tree was overflowing with stale food that had to be thrown away because he won't eat it. There were obviously rotten bananas on the counter that you couldn't be bothered to notice and throw away. The washer was on and wasting electricity. We spent an additional hour after we got home just cleaning up enough to be able to sleep. We had to buy a new litter box because that one was so destroyed by urine. But that's fine. We're rude. You just took $40 for a half-done job. Thanks a ton. I'm pissed off at this point. I'm angry, pregnant, hormonal, and we spent our day off cleaning the bathroom and kitchen as well as unpacking when that could have been avoided. The message was probably harsher than it could have been. My husband and I are typically pretty laid-back people, but I don't get a reply to that either. This morning I sent her this message. "Okay, I get it. I don't usually justify a response either. Your cup is on my front porch if you want it, but if you remember how to be an adult and admit you were wrong, I'll be home all day." She didn't reply until lunch. I am taking time to process, and I will respond in a few days. I just duck. That's not how the world works. You don't get to drag things out for days because you want to. I talked to my mom about this. She's usually my voice of reason and doesn't hold the punches, and says we're justified to getting our money back and having sister-in-law pay for the litter box. How do I proceed with this? I want to just let it go and take it as a lesson learned. She's not a reliable human. She can't admit mistakes, and she's just in ducking la-la land. I'm also this close to tossing her stupid tumbler in the trash. Husband wants to confront her and demand the money back. He's sick of her always being the baby and never dealing with the consequences of her non-actions. The only time he would be able to do this is at the next family dinner in front of his parents and brother. I won't be attending. I think that's a bad idea. He's in super protective mode because pregnant and had been prone to the warpath lately. You're completely justified. I wouldn't worry about the money. It cost you $40 to realize what a selfish moron sister-in-law is. You got off light. Don't press the money issue. Unless you're going to take her to small claims court, it's not worth the hassle of trying to collect. Also, $40 is really sort of a token thank you for that many days of pet sitting. Find someone more reliable and pay them more. Or hire a service where you have recourse if things go wrong. Sounds like you're lucky she didn't have messy guests over, breaking in appliances, or leave your doors unlocked. She knows she did a crap job. You've expressed your anger. Ball's in her court, and you guys are perfectly justified in being mad at her until she apologizes. Don't be childish about it though, or you'll just look as bad as her. If you have to be around her for a family thing, just don't pay attention to her, and if she speaks to you directly, answer in one word and walk away. Now you know you never rely on her again. Edit. I'm getting a lot of comments and PMs saying we're a-holes. We deserved worse, especially since we only left $40. Where we live, that's 2 weeks of gas for her car. Considering we're on her way home from work and she was also taking care of her parents' dog, I thought that was at least mildly thoughtful. In the card, I mentioned the money was to offset gas costs. Thanked her profusely. Thanked her every time she gave me an update. And we'd just given her an expensive gift for Christmas. Don't know what that has to do with anything, but it's been brought up more than once. Also, apparently we suck for expecting family to do this for less than a stranger. I guess our families are set up different than yours. For instance, when we went out of town for 2 weeks a year ago, my mom drove 30 minutes out of her way both ways every day to take care of my cat. Money was tighter then, so we got my mom a $15 McDonald's gift card for her soda addiction. Didn't come home to pissy rugs and a miserable cat. About 2 years ago, my brother had anaplastic thyroid cancer. This is a very aggressive form of cancer with very poor chances of recovery. A couple of months after diagnosis, his wife basically told him and us that she can't take it anymore and wants to leave. She said some hurtful things at that moment like, "I didn't marry a sick person." Even though my brother was very sick, she insisted that they get a divorce immediately. My brother died 6 months later. I really hated her for what she did. She left him at his most vulnerable moment, and it crushed him. He really stopped fighting after that. His chances of survival were low, but he had a chance. After she left him, he had no chance, since he gave up on himself. He was waiting for it all to end. After his funeral, she was nowhere to be found for a year. I couldn't care less. But in the past 6 months, she's been trying to get close to our family again, and acts as though there's nothing wrong. She talks about our loss and our family. I try to be polite, but I really want to punch her in the face and tell her that she lost the right to call it her loss or her family the moment she left him. Yeah, she had a right to leave, but also that right takes away from her right to call him her family. She just tries to be close. She goes where I go. If there's a gathering, she will be there if there's a chance that me or my mom will be there. She sends messages and voicemails and texts all the time. I never take time to respond or get friendly with her, and neither does my mom, but she keeps trying. What got me almost to the point of explosion was that she suggested we change my brother's headstone to reflect that he was a husband, since it only says grandson, son, brother on it. I don't know how she dares saying that, but she does. I only told her that she knows better than anyone that he wasn't a husband when he died. I've tried so hard to be civil and not to unload on her, but I'm at the end of my patience. I've told her that I don't want to see her, and she doesn't listen. I don't know what I'll do if she keeps going like this. I don't want to see or hear from her ever again. Is that too much to ask? How can I tell her that I don't want her to be my friend and make her listen? I've tried so hard to be civil and not unload on her, but I'm at the end of my patience. Maybe that's exactly what you need to do. Not physically, but do unload on her and let her know how you feel about her. Don't hide your anger and frustration. Your family were generous that you allowed her into the funeral. I don't think that I would have. She should go. If my brother had an ex that abandoned him before he died and caused him to lose all hope for life, I would not only unload my feelings about her to her face, but make sure everyone knows the details of what happened with them. How dare she try to talk about her feelings and hardship in this issue when she couldn't even help the person who she was supposed to love until death? She's selfish and she doesn't want to feel guilty, so she's trying to assuage her guilt without putting in work toward the one that needed it most. She's sickening. Drop her, and don't be nice about it.